The Galactic Council chamber was a place where the most powerful voices of the galaxy met. It floated above a white star, a shining ring of glass and metal built to show peace and unity among hundreds of species. Inside the hall, the air shimmered with strange colors. Some beings breathed oxygen, others ammonia, and many more used light to talk instead of sound. The council chamber had systems that balanced all of it, making it feel like a dream, cold, silent, and endless. On this day, no one was calm. Every seat was full, every light bright. Delegates from across the stars were present, whispering in clicks, hums, and waves. All of them waited for one species, the newcomers from a small, dangerous planet called Earth. The speaker of the council, a tall creature made of crystal plates and golden veins, tapped its staff against the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. The representatives of Terra have been summoned to answer for violations of the Sovereign Accord of Peace, it said. The translation machines turned its vibrating tones into a smooth voice. They stand accused of unauthorized colonization, of spreading military technology to frontier worlds, and of disturbing galactic stability. A murmur passed through the room. The words military technology caused many eyes to change color, a sign of fear among some species. The humans had already gained a dark reputation. They came from what aliens called a death world, a planet so dangerous that most species would never survive there for a single day. Yet somehow humans had thrived. Outside the great doors, the sound of footsteps grew louder. Two humans walked side by side unguarded. The first was Captain Morgan Hale, a tall man with gray eyes that looked as if they had seen too much. His steps were steady, calm, and slow. He wore a dark uniform with the symbol of Earth's United Fleet on the shoulder. The second was Dr. Aisha Rana, Earth's chief diplomat. Her long coat was simple, her datapad glowing faintly in her hand. Her expression was calm, but her eyes moved quickly, watching everything. As they entered, the hall fell silent. Even species that used soundless communication stopped glowing or moving. The silence itself felt heavy, pressing against the glass walls of the chamber. The speaker turned its head slowly toward them. Humans of Terra, you stand before the Galactic Council to answer for your actions. How do you plead? Captain Hale stopped in the center of the room. His boots echoed. He did not bow. He did not kneel. He looked around, meeting the eyes of creatures from hundreds of worlds. We don't plead, he said. His voice was quiet but sharp, cutting through the stillness. We explained. Dr. Rana took a small step forward. Our presence here is not a threat, she said softly. But you called for judgment, so we came to speak for ourselves. The speaker's voice rumbled again. Your fleets have moved beyond permitted zones. Your settlements on the border of the Callan Expanse were not authorized. You have taken planets under independent protectorate. Why? Rana lifted her datapad, and a light projection appeared above it. It showed images of burned colonies, broken ships, and the remains of dead planets. Because those worlds asked for help, she said. The council was silent while the Varkesh raiders destroyed them. We acted because no one else did. A hiss came from one of the side seats, a serpentine being coiled in anger. Your help caused more death. Your soldiers brought machines of war to our frontier. Captain Hale turned his eyes toward the creature. We didn't bring war, he said. War was already there. We just ended it faster. The whispering in the chamber grew louder. Some delegates argued in secret languages while others stared in silence. The speaker struck the floor again with its staff. You claim your violence is justified, but the Accord exists to prevent species from spreading their ways of war. Dr. Rana smiled faintly. We know, she said, but our ways of survival are not the same as yours. She pressed another command on her datapad. New images filled the air. A planet covered in storms, oceans filled with monsters, forests filled with poisons and claws. It was Earth. This is where we come from, she said. Our planet tries to kill us every day. Our storms destroy cities, our air burns lungs, our diseases never stop changing. We learned to live with it. We learned to adapt. We learned to build walls, to fight, to survive. We didn't choose to be this way. We had to be. The images faded, leaving silence again. Some delegates leaned back, trying to imagine what it would be like to live on such a world. Others simply refused to believe it. Hale spoke again, his tone steady and cold. You call us dangerous. Maybe we are, but not because we want war. We are dangerous because we learn to survive anything, even fear. The chamber lights dimmed slightly as the translation systems processed his words. Fear. The word carried weight in every tongue. A delegate from the Varan cluster, a species that spoke through colors, flickered pale blue, their color for unease. Humans speak as if survival gives them the right to defy the council, it said through a mechanical voice. Rana answered calmly. Survival gives us the right to exist. The council never gave us that. Nature did. The speaker's golden plates shifted, a sign of discomfort. You misunderstand your place, human. The council governs the peace of this galaxy. Captain Hale took a slow breath. Peace, he repeated. Is that what you call it? The silence of those too afraid to stand up? The words hit the room like a weapon. Some delegates stood in shock. Others muttered angrily. The speaker raised its staff again, trying to calm them. You speak boldly for a species that has only just reached the stars, it said. Hale looked up at the ceiling, where the stars outside shone through the glass. Boldness is what got us here, he said quietly. Dr. Rana looked at the crowd. You asked for humans to come, she said softly. You wanted to judge us, but maybe you really wanted to understand what makes us different. She paused. You wanted to understand fear. We brought you a demonstration. The room froze. Every translator paused, uncertain how to interpret that. A low vibration ran through the station's floor. The delegates turned nervously toward the walls as a hum filled the air. Outside the window, a human ship drifted into view. It was larger than any known vessel built by a new species. Its hull was dark, marked with the scars of battle. It moved with a slow, steady grace like a predator that knew no rival. The speaker's light flickered. What is that? Hale answered calmly, a ship. Nothing more. It's here for our safety. Several delegates panicked, whispering commands to their guards. Others sat motionless, realizing something important. Earth had not sent 2 unarmed diplomats. It had sent a message. Dr. Rana spoke again, her tone unchanged. We are not here to threaten you. But we wanted you to know that we do not come weak. We do not kneel to fear, not even before the council. The speaker tried to regain control. Remove the human projection. Their arrogance will not be tolerated in this chamber. But the projection did not fade. The image of the ship grew larger. It was not pointing its weapons at the council, only hovering nearby, silent and patient. Captain Hale's voice grew softer. You built this chamber to make species feel small, he said. But that doesn't work on us. We grew up under skies full of storms. This place is peaceful compared to home. The words spread through the room like a slow fire. The other delegates began to see them differently, not as intruders, but as something far older in spirit. Creatures forged by pain, shaped by struggle. Dr. Rana lowered her datapad. You fear what we might do, she said. But you should also understand what we might bring. We can survive where no one else can. We can build where no one dares to. We can stand beside you, not beneath you. No one replied. Even the speaker was silent now. The 2 humans turned to leave. As they walked toward the exit, the tension in the room did not fade. The sound of their boots echoed again, strong and slow. When the doors closed behind them, the council chamber finally came alive with noise, panic, whispers, and argument. The speaker stared at the empty space they had left. For the first time in centuries, it felt something that no council law could erase. It felt fear. Outside, the human ship drifted in silence, waiting like a shadow against the stars. And somewhere deep inside the station, a simple truth began to grow among the delegates. Humanity had not come to beg for peace. They had come to show the galaxy what peace costs to earn. The council chamber was quiet long after the humans left. The air felt heavier than before. Many delegates tried to speak, but no one wanted to be the first. The speaker stood still, its golden plates dimming with slow pulses of light. It had seen war and peace for over 200 years, but never something like this. It could feel the echo of those 2 human voices still hanging in the air. Far above the chamber, in orbit around the white star, human ships floated in silence. They did not aim their weapons or send signals of threat. They simply stayed there waiting. For the council, that silence was worse than an attack. Every military officer in the building watched the human fleet closely, unsure if it was a warning or a promise. Dr. Aisha Rana and Captain Morgan Hale walked through the long silver corridors of the council station. The walls were made of transparent crystal, showing the stars outside. A few alien diplomats avoided their path, pretending to look at data pads or talk through telepathic links. None of them dared to make eye contact. Rana walked calmly, her datapad in one hand. Hale walked beside her, silent, his mind focused on every shadow and corner. "They're afraid of us," Rana said softly. "They should be," Hale replied, "but fear can make them stupid. We need them cautious, not desperate." Rana smiled faintly. "You think they'll attack?" "They might," Hale said. "But not yet. They'll try to understand us first. They'll dig through their files, read every record they can find. They'll try to figure out what makes us tick. They won't like what they find," Rana said. "No," Hale said. "They won't." Back inside the chamber, the speaker finally raised its staff. The sound echoed again, forcing silence on the restless crowd. "The humans have left the hall," it said. "But this matter is not closed. We must review their history and their intentions. The species from Terra is not ordinary." A delegate from the aquatic world of Thalkesh, its body shimmering with water, spoke in a trembling voice. "They live on a planet that kills everything. The records say their gravity is crushing, their air thick with poisons. Their animals eat one another constantly. Their sun burns hotter than ours. No world like that produces peace." A metallic being from the Mecron assembly clicked in response. "And yet they reach the stars. Their engines are crude but efficient. Their AI systems grow fast. Their weapon designs are new to us. They call themselves explorers, but everything they build can become a weapon." The speaker turned toward the Mecron. "Do you suggest they are preparing for war?" The machine's lights flickered red. "They were born in war." In a dark corner of the chamber, an elder delegate from the Varan cluster spoke softly, its skin glowing a pale green. "They scare you because they remind you of what we once were," it said. "We used to fight storms and beasts before we became civilized. We forgot the will to survive." "They never did." The room fell quiet again. No one wanted to admit the truth in those words. Meanwhile, in the private quarters assigned to the humans, Dr. Rana sat at a metal desk, reviewing messages from Earth. The signal delay across light years made real-time conversation impossible, but Earth's Strategic Council had sent clear instructions. Their mission was to talk, not to fight, but they were authorized to defend themselves if provoked. Hale stood by the window, watching the human ship outside. Its hull lights blinked in silent rhythm. Rana finally looked up. "They're calling an emergency meeting," she said. "They'll decide what to do about us." Hale nodded. "Good, let them talk. The more they argue, the less they act." Rana leaned back in her chair. "You think they'll understand us?" "Not yet," Hale said. "They don't understand how we think. They live in safety. They make laws to protect themselves from fear. We make laws to control it," Rana sighed. "They see us as monsters." Hale turned from the window. Maybe that's what they need to see first. Hours later, the council gathered again. The lights dimmed and a large projection filled the air. It showed a map of the Milky Way, dotted with human colonies and trade routes. Red circles marked the frontier worlds, places where humans had settled beyond the borders allowed by the Accord. "These are the worlds of concern," said the speaker. "Each settlement was built without permission. Each one has shown rapid growth, often protected by human military presence." An insectoid delegate buzzed in alarm. "They are spreading faster than any species in recorded history." Another voice shouted, "They conquered 3 unclaimed systems in less than 10 years. "They didn't conquer," said the Varan delegate. "They built. Those systems were abandoned. No one wanted them. But they are armed," another said. "Their colonies have defense grids. They train soldiers on every planet." The Mecron unit turned its glowing eyes toward the others. "That is not expansion. That is preparation." "Preparation for what?" the speaker asked. "For whatever comes next," the machine said. A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. At that moment, Dr. Rana's holographic form appeared at the entrance. She had returned uninvited. The guards hesitated but did not stop her. She walked into the chamber with the same calm expression as before. "I believe you were talking about us," she said. The speaker's lights flared. "Human representative, you were dismissed." "I was," she said. "But I thought it would be unfair to let you discuss our motives without asking us first." The delegates whispered among themselves. The speaker waved its staff, silencing them. "You are accused of disturbing the balance of the galaxy. Your kind builds weapons where others build homes." Rana's voice stayed calm. On Earth, homes and weapons are often the same thing. We learned that when the world tried to kill us, shelter was not enough. Safety had to be earned. The speaker frowned. You twist words. I speak truth, Rana said. She tapped her datapad again. New images appeared above her, videos from Earth's history. Floods swallowing cities, earthquakes tearing land apart, meteors falling from the sky, humans rebuilding again and again. This is what raised us, she said. Not peace, not comfort. We learned to think, to adapt, to plan, because the world demanded it. When nature strikes, we rebuild. When we lose, we learn. When we die, others take our place. The speaker stared at the images. And you believe this gives you the right to defy us? No, Rana said softly. It gives us the ability to stand equal to you. A quiet voice came from the Varen side. Then what do you want from this council, human? Rana looked around the room. Understanding, cooperation, respect, not fear. The Mechron unit clicked. You say that, but you brought warships. Rana met its glowing eyes. We brought protection. You know how many pirate fleets roam this region? 3. 2 of them have already tried to ambush our transport ships in the past month. We do not travel unguarded. Neither do you. The speaker's voice was sharp. Then why do your weapons rival our fleets? Because we build things that last, Rana said. We have no ancient empires or old allies to protect us. We protect ourselves. A long silence followed. Then the aquatic delegate spoke, its voice like rippling water. Your people are clever. You survive where no one else can. But that makes you dangerous, Rana nodded. Yes, we are dangerous. But danger does not always mean harm. Fire destroys. It also warms. You fear our strength because you have forgotten why strength exists. The speaker tried to hide its unease, but the light of its body dimmed. You claim to protect, but you might one day decide to rule. Rana smiled slightly. If we wanted to rule, we wouldn't be standing here. Her words lingered in the chamber long after she turned and left again. The speaker watched her go and felt something strange, a mix of anger, confusion, and respect. It looked out at the stars and whispered to itself. They speak like conquerors, but they act like survivors. Later, in the observation deck of their ship, Hale joined Rana. The stars shone bright beyond the window. You gave them a lot to think about, Hale said. They'll twist it, Rana said quietly. They'll say we're manipulating them. Maybe, Hale said. But fear and respect often start the same way. Rana looked at him. Do you think we can ever make them trust us? Hale didn't answer right away. He watched the reflection of the council station glowing like a ring of fire around the star. They will, he said finally, when they need us. And far below in the council's dark meeting hall, that moment was already beginning. The delegates argued about what to do with Earth, about how to stop them or how to ally with them. None of them noticed that outside in the cold void of space, the human ships were not just waiting. They were listening. They were already ready for what came next. The council's hidden chamber was silent except for the low hum of power lines that ran through the walls. Only the most powerful members of the Galactic Council were present. The speaker stood in the center, its golden light flickering as it addressed them. Around the round table sat the leaders of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Their forms shimmered under the dim light, some made of crystal, others of gas, metal, or liquid. None of them looked calm. The speaker's voice was deep and heavy. The humans are unpredictable. We must decide how to deal with them before they decide for us. A tall being made of black smoke spoke first. They already move beyond our borders. Their colonies spread fast. If they continue, they will challenge the balance we built. An insectoid delegate clattered its legs nervously. We cannot allow another empire to rise. Not after the wars of expansion. The Mechron unit spoke next, its mechanical voice steady. A direct attack would be unwise. Human technology is primitive, but their adaptability is extreme. They would analyze our weapons and copy them. We would teach them how to destroy us. The speaker tapped its staff against the floor. Then what do you suggest? Sanctions? Isolation? They already live on worlds that no one else can survive. A low voice came from the far corner. Then perhaps we remove them before they spread further. The room turned toward the source. It was a reptilian general from the Zarn Dominion, his scales gleaming dark green. We have the fleets. Strike now while they are small. Their ships around this station are few. Destroy them and Earth will submit. The room fell silent. Some delegates looked uncertain. Others nodded slowly. The speaker hesitated. Before it could reply, a light on the table flashed. A hidden communication line opened. The station's security director appeared as a hologram. "Forgive the interruption, counselors," it said. "But we have detected a strange signal inside the station. It is coming from the humans' quarters." The Mechron unit tilted its head. "Are they transmitting to their fleet?" "No," the director said. "It appears to be a data sweep. They are collecting information." The speaker's voice grew hard. "How?" "We do not know," the director said. "Their devices bypass our encryption." The delegates murmured in shock. Meanwhile, in their quarters, Dr. Aisha Rana sat at her desk, her eyes fixed on her datapad. Lines of alien script flashed across it, translating faster than most systems could process. The screen showed readings from the council chamber, energy patterns, communication signals, and emotional wave frequencies. Captain Hale stood near the door, his hand resting on a small control pad. "They're planning something," he said. Rana nodded. "They're scared, and fear always leads to the same thing. War," Hale said quietly. Rana looked up from her screen. "We can't let that happen. We didn't come here to fight." "No," Hale said. "But we came prepared if they started." The data pad beeped softly. Rana looked down and frowned. "They're voting. Right now." Hale's eyes narrowed. "And?" Rana's voice was calm but cold. "Half want to sanction us. The rest want to erase us completely." For a moment, the room was silent. The only sound was the steady hum of the station. Hale straightened. "Then we show them what a bad idea that is." He pressed a command on his pad. The air in the room changed. A soft pulse spread through the walls, an encoded message. It traveled through the structure of the station like a heartbeat, invisible to standard sensors. Outside, far beyond the chamber, the human ships began to move. Back in the council's secret meeting, alarms suddenly blared. Lights flashed red. "What is happening?" the speaker demanded. The security director reappeared, its voice filled with panic. "Multiple unknown signals detected. The human ships are repositioning. They have surrounded the station." The delegates erupted in alarm. The Mechron unit processed the data in seconds. "They are not charging weapons. They are locking on to something else." "Us, impossible," shouted the Zarn general. "We control this space." But the evidence was clear. Every display in the room showed the same image. Earth's fleet, silent and motionless but in perfect formation around the council station. The speaker tried to keep control. "Open a channel to them." "Channel open," said the director. Captain Hale's voice filled the chamber, calm and steady. "If this is a trial, it's over. If it's an ambush, you've misjudged the terrain." The delegates froze. Hale's tone was quiet, but it carried a weight that silenced every argument. The speaker forced its voice to remain steady. "Human, you violate the sanctity of this station. Withdraw your fleet immediately." Hale did not answer right away. When he finally spoke, his voice was colder. "We came to talk. We came in peace. But we know what you're planning. You're voting to destroy us. That ends now." The speaker's light flickered wildly. "You threaten the council?" Dr. Rana's voice came next, soft but firm. "No, we remind you that fear makes poor judges. You call yourselves guardians of peace, but you hide behind rules while others die." The Varan delegate leaned forward. "You have no right to spy on us." "You have no right to decide who lives and who dies," Rana said. "You think peace comes from control. For us, peace comes from survival." The Zarn general shouted, "This is blackmail." Hale replied, "No, this is balance." Outside the station, the human ships powered down their drives, showing empty hands in the form of dark silence. But every sensor could see the energy cores burning beneath their hulls. The message was clear. They could fight, but they chose not to. Inside, chaos broke out. Some delegates demanded to attack. Others begged for calm. The speaker's voice cut through the noise. "Silence." When the hall quieted, it looked at the projection of the two humans standing before them. "You have made your point, humans of Terra. What do you want?" Dr. Rana's expression was calm. "We want the truth acknowledged. You accuse us of spreading chaos, but we only stepped into the chaos you ignored. We protect colonies you abandoned. We rescue worlds you call lost." The Mechron unit processed her words quickly. "You do this for moral reason?" Rana looked at it. "We do it because we remember what it's like to be small and helpless." The speaker hesitated. "Then prove your intentions. Stand down your fleet and submit to council inspection." Hale gave a short laugh. Submit? We didn't come this far to kneel. Dr. Rana turned to him, then back to the council. We will allow inspection if it is mutual. You inspect us, we inspect you. That's how trust begins. The chamber erupted again. No one had ever dared to demand equality with the council. The speaker shouted over the noise, "You cannot dictate terms." Rana's eyes hardened. Then you cannot call this peace. The silence that followed was worse than shouting. The council's unity began to crack. Some delegates whispered that the humans were right. Others whispered that they must be stopped. The speaker finally said, "We will consider your request. Return to your quarters." Dr. Rana nodded slightly. "We'll wait." The transmission ended. The holograms vanished. In the human quarters, Hale stood near the window again, watching the glow of the council's defense grids flicker on. "They're scared," he said. Rana sat at her desk, typing slowly. "Good. Fear means they'll think before they act." Hale looked at her. "You think they'll back down?" She didn't answer right away. "Maybe," she said at last. "But they won't forget this." "They don't have to," Hale said. "They just have to learn what we already know." "What's that?" she asked. "That we don't start wars," Hale said quietly. "We finish them." Outside, the human fleet remained still. Every sensor on the station watched them. The aliens expected movement, aggression, something loud and violent. Instead, the ships stayed where they were, drifting silently in perfect order. That silence frightened the council more than any weapon could. Hours later, in the private council room, the speaker met with a small group of trusted advisors. "We cannot allow this species to continue unchecked," it said. "But we also cannot destroy them. If their ships can reach our capital in minutes, what else can they do?" One of the advisors, a creature made of living light, said softly, "Maybe the universe made them this way for a reason. Maybe they are the mirror we needed to see what we have become." The speaker turned away. "Perhaps, but I fear the mirror will not like what it reflects." That night, as the station orbited the star in silence, humans and aliens watched one another from across the void. No weapons fired. No signals were sent. Only the quiet understanding remained that the age of fear had begun and the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars outside the council station burned quietly against the black sky. The human fleet still surrounded the station like a ring of shadows. Their ships did not move or speak, but every alien inside the council could feel them there. The silence was worse than any weapon. It made everyone uneasy. Inside the council chamber, the speaker stood before a wide screen that showed the human vessels. Around it, the delegates spoke in low, worried tones. Some wanted to attack, others wanted to surrender, but none agreed on what to do. The humans had changed everything. They had entered the council chamber, faced judgment without fear, and now held the most powerful body in the galaxy in quiet control. The speaker's golden light dimmed. "They are forcing our hand," it said. "If we allow them to act without consequence, every young species will think the council is weak." The Mecron unit's mechanical voice answered, "Strength is not always destruction. The humans could have fired upon us already. They have not." "They are waiting," hissed the reptilian general. "Predators wait before they strike." The Varan delegate's voice was soft and glowing green. "Or maybe they are waiting to save us again." The speaker turned sharply. "Save us? From what?" The Varan delegate raised a trembling hand. "There are reports from the outer sectors. The Varkesh swarm has moved again. Their fleets have vanished from the frontier." Murmurs filled the room. The Varkesh were not just raiders. They were a living plague, an ancient race that consumed entire star systems. The council had thought they were gone, wiped out decades ago. The Mecron unit processed the data quickly. If the Varkesh have changed course, their new path could lead directly here. The speaker's body flickered brighter. "You think they would attack the council core?" The Mecron's lights blinked red. "They have done it before." The hall filled with panic. Delegates shouted in their own languages, arguing over defense and escape routes. The speaker raised its staff again, trying to calm them. "We will activate the planetary shields."
"Summon the defense fleet!"
But even as it spoke, alarms began to ring across the chamber. A red warning light pulsed on the ceiling. The station shook slightly. The voice of the security director came through the speakers. "Emergency report. Unknown ships detected at the edge of the system. Identified as Varkesh swarm vessels, thousands of them." Gasps and cries filled the chamber. Some delegates collapsed in fear. The speaker shouted, "Activate all weapons." Prepare for battle. But another voice cut through the noise. It was Dr. Aisha Rana. She and Captain Hale had entered the chamber again. The guards tried to stop them, but Hale moved past them without a word. Rana spoke clearly. Stop. Your defense systems will not hold. The speaker glared at her. You dare interrupt us again? Yes, she said calmly. Because you don't understand what's coming. The Mechron turned its metal head toward her. You knew about this. Yes, Rana said. We tracked the Varkesh weeks ago. Their swarm moves in the void between your sensor ranges. We tried to warn you, but you were too busy preparing to destroy us. The speaker's light dimmed. You are lying. Captain Hale stepped forward. His tone was cold and steady. We don't lie about war. On the screen behind them, the first images of the Varkesh swarm appeared. They looked like a moving storm. Black ships grown from living metal shaped like claws and wings. Their numbers filled the sensors completely. The chamber filled with chaos again. They will destroy us, shouted a delegate. They will destroy everything, cried another. Dr. Rana looked around the room. We can stop them, she said. The speaker turned sharply toward her. You would help us? Rana's voice was quiet but firm. We didn't come to start a war. We came to prevent one. Our fleet has already locked onto the swarm. The Mechron processed the data instantly. Confirmed. The human ships are moving into intercept formation. The speaker stared at the display, its light flickering in confusion. You brought your ships here to fight them? Yes, Hale said. You call us dangerous, but the real danger has always been out there. Outside, the human fleet began to shift. Engines ignited one by one, forming a wide line between the council station and the incoming swarm. Their movements were slow but precise, like a practiced dance. Inside the station, the delegates watched the feed in silence. The swarm grew larger by the second. The speaker whispered, They will be outnumbered 100 to 1. Rana replied, Numbers don't always decide battles. Will does. In the void, the two forces met. The Varkesh ships released clouds of acid spores and energy blasts. The humans answered with beams of light so bright that they cut through the darkness. Each shot found its mark, guided by invisible patterns of quantum calculation. The aliens inside the chamber watched in disbelief. The human fleet fought like a single living being. Every ship covered another, every move planned as if they had rehearsed this for years. They did not panic. They did not retreat. One alien whispered, They fight as if death means nothing to them. Rana heard him and said quietly, It means everything to us. That's why we don't waste it. The battle outside raged on. The swarm broke apart, then reformed again like waves crashing against rock. But the human ships held their line. One of the smaller vessels exploded, scattering debris across space. For a moment, the aliens gasped, thinking the humans would retreat. But instead, the line closed again. Captain Hale stood in front of the screen, his eyes fixed on the fight. They'll try to flank from the upper arc, he said. Rana's hand moved quickly over her datapad. Already handled. On the display, several human ships shifted positions, cutting off the swarm's movement. Explosions of blue light filled the darkness. The speaker turned toward them, unable to hide its shock. How are you doing this? Rana looked at the display. We've studied the Varkesh for years. We've learned their signals, their instincts, their weaknesses. You planned this? The speaker asked. We expected this, Hale said. That's what humans do. Minutes turned into hours. Slowly, the swarm began to break apart. Their ships scattered in panic, trying to flee. The human fleet pursued, burning through the last wave of enemies with perfect precision. When it was over, silence filled the chamber again. The screen showed only stars. The Varkesh fleet was gone. The speaker's golden body dimmed and brightened again, trying to process what had happened. You saved us, it said softly. Dr. Rana turned toward the room. We saved the Council, she said, because the Council holds the balance of the galaxy. Even if it doesn't always deserve it, the Mechron spoke. You risked your fleet, why? Rana's voice was quiet. Because it was the right thing to do. We fight when we must, not when we want to. The reptilian general looked down, ashamed. We accused you of planning war. We were wrong. Hale said, We do plan for war, because if we don't, others will. The speaker looked at him carefully. You are a strange species, human. You bring peace through fear. Not fear, Hale said. Respect. The speaker was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke again. The council owes you a debt. Rana shook her head. You owe yourselves understanding. The galaxy isn't peaceful because you say it is. It's peaceful because someone stands ready when danger comes. The speaker studied her face. And that someone is humanity? Not always, she said softly. But this time, yes. Outside, the human ships drifted back into position around the station. They had taken damage, but they stayed quiet and calm, waiting for orders. In the chamber, none of the aliens could speak. They had seen what humans could do, not in anger, but in duty. The speaker looked around at the silent delegates. Perhaps we judged them too quickly, it said. The Varan delegate replied. Perhaps we were afraid of what we didn't understand. Dr. Rana turned toward the exit. You understand now, she said. As she and Hale left the chamber, every eye followed them. No one dared to stop them. No one even moved. Outside, the stars shone brighter. The smoke of battle was gone. For the first time in a long while, the galaxy was quiet again. But the council would never forget what it had seen. It had witnessed a small species from a deadly world face a nightmare that entire civilizations feared, and win. And as the human ship turned slowly toward the stars, Captain Hale looked at the endless dark ahead. They'll never look at us the same again, he said. Dr. Rana nodded. Good, now they know what we really are. They'll call us Deathworlders, Hale said. Rana smiled faintly. Let them. We've been called worse. Their ship's engines glowed bright, cutting through the void like a sunrise over a silent world. And behind them, the great Galactic Council realized something it had never felt before. It did not just fear humanity, it respected it. The council chamber was quiet after the battle. The smoke of fear still hung in the air even though the fighting had ended hours ago. Screens that once showed chaos now showed only stars. The hum of the air systems was the only sound. Most of the delegates had not moved from their seats. They were still trying to understand what had happened. The humans had come as the accused. They had walked into judgment. And now the same humans had saved everyone from destruction. Dr. Aisha Rana and Captain Morgan Hale stood near the center of the chamber. The bright lights of the ceiling shone down on them, making them seem calm and steady while the others looked tired and lost. Neither of them spoke. They waited. The aliens around them avoided their eyes. Even the guards who once aimed their weapons at the humans now kept their heads lowered. The speaker finally moved. Its glowing form flickered as it tried to find the right words. Human representatives, it said slowly. The council owes you a great debt. Rana looked up. Her voice was calm. You owe yourselves survival. We just made sure you had the chance to earn it. There was a long silence. Then the Varan delegate spoke softly. We have seen your strength. We have seen your skill. But I do not understand. Why save us? You could have let the swarm destroy us. Then you would rule what remained. Hale shook his head. We don't want to rule you. We want to live among you. We want peace, but peace doesn't survive without someone willing to protect it. The speaker looked down from its high platform. You came to the council expecting to be judged. Instead, you judged us. No, Rana said. We came to speak. You just weren't ready to listen until fear made you. The words hung heavy in the air. No one dared to argue. Outside, the human fleet slowly returned to orbit. Hundreds of ships moved in perfect order, glowing faintly against the dark. The damage from the fight was clear. Some ships were scarred, some missing sections, but they all remained steady. Not one drifted away. The humans had fought together and they had survived together. The Mechron unit's mechanical voice broke the silence. Statistical analysis indicates 90% of human fleet operational. 78% ammunition capacity remaining. Casualties below predicted level. The reptilian general hissed quietly. They fought the greatest swarm in the galaxy and still speak of numbers like it was a simple test. Rana turned to him. Every life matters to us. That is why we count them. He lowered his gaze and said no more. The speaker's light flickered again, brighter this time. The council must now decide what happens next. Humanity has proven its power. But power without control is still a danger. Hale's voice was low and steady. Control is not the same as trust. The speaker studied him for a long time. Then tell us, human, what do you want from the council? Rana looked at the delegates who sat in silence, all of them watching. We want recognition. We want to be part of this galaxy, not apart from it. We don't ask for power or privilege. Only respect, the insectoid delegate clicked its mandibles. Respect is earned through fear or through wisdom. You have shown both, Rana shook her head. We didn't fight to make you afraid. We fought because it was right. The speaker lowered its staff. Then perhaps the council has been wrong about what strength truly means. The Mechron spoke again, its voice neutral but sharp. Proposal. Record current session as historical event. Reclassification of humanity from Category 7 hazard species to Category 1 strategic partner. The chamber filled with whispers. It was the highest rank ever given to a new species. Many delegates protested softly, but none argued loudly. The truth was clear to all of them. Humanity had shown not only strength but control, intelligence, and compassion. The speaker raised its hand. Let it be voted. Holographic lights appeared above every seat. One by one, the delegates cast their votes. The room filled with soft sounds as the results formed on the main screen. The speaker looked up and announced, "By a vote of 347 in favor, 12 against, the motion passes. Humanity is recognized as a full and sovereign member of the Galactic Council." No one clapped. No one cheered. The moment was too heavy for celebration. Rana bowed her head slightly. "Thank you," she said simply. Hale looked around the chamber. "You see us now. You understand what we are. We're not your enemies, but we won't be your servants either." The speaker nodded. "Nor will you ever be again." For the first time, the speaker descended from the high platform. It came down to stand before the humans. Its form shimmered like sunlight through water. When it spoke, its tone was no longer proud or cold. The galaxy has feared many things. Wars plagues empires. But today it learned something new. It learned to respect fear itself and the ones who mastered it. Rana met its gaze. Fear keeps us alive, but it doesn't rule us. Outside the great window, the human ships began to move again, preparing for departure. Small drones floated between them, repairing damage and tending to wounded crews. Even from afar, it was clear how organized and calm they remained. Some of the alien delegates rose and approached the humans. The Varan delegate bowed slightly. "Your world must be very hard to make such people." Rana smiled faintly. "Hard, yes, but beautiful too. We learned that beauty and danger can live together." The reptilian general stepped forward next. "If Earth produces soldiers like you, then perhaps we should study your world." Hale looked at him and said, "Only if you plan to survive it." The general blinked, unsure if it was a warning or a joke. The speaker turned to the assembly again. "Let it be written. The humans of Terra are to be given a permanent seat on the council. Their world is to be recognized as a protectorate world of strategic importance." The chamber's lights shifted from red to calm white. The judgment session was over. Rana looked at Hale. "We did it." He nodded slowly. "For now. But peace doesn't last unless someone guards it." The speaker overheard and said, "And you believe humanity will guard it?" Hale's eyes were cold and sure. "We already are." They turned and began walking toward the exit. Every delegate watched them pass. No one dared to stop them. No one even breathed too loudly. The echo of their footsteps filled the hall like thunder. When the great doors closed behind them, the silence that followed was deep. The speaker looked around at the others. "Remember this day," it said softly. "The day when 2 Deathworlders entered this hall, and the galaxy realized what courage truly looks like." Outside in the vastness of space, the human flagship opened its hangar bay. Hale and Rana entered their shuttle and took their seats. The engines hummed quietly. Through the glass, they could see the council station shrinking behind them, glowing faintly in orbit. Rana spoke first. "Do you think they'll ever trust us?" "Trust comes after fear fades," Hale said. "That might take a while." "Then what now?" she asked. He looked at the stars. "We go home. Earth needs to know what we've done." The shuttle rose slowly, joining the fleet. Around them, the stars stretched like rivers of light. Rana leaned back and whispered, "It feels strange. We came here to defend ourselves, and we ended up defending everyone else." Hale smiled faintly. "That's what humans do. We fight so that others don't have to." She looked at him for a moment. "You think they'll ever forget what they saw?" He shook his head. "No, they'll remember. Maybe not the words, but the feeling. The fear, the respect, the understanding." The shuttle docked with the flagship. Crew members saluted as the two entered. The command deck lights dimmed as they took their seats. "Fleet ready for return course," reported an officer. "Take us home," Hale said. The engines came alive, humming through the ship like a heartbeat. Outside, the stars began to move. As the fleet turned toward the dark, The council station glowed smaller and smaller until it was just another light in the endless sky. In the quiet that followed, Rana looked out at the stars and spoke softly. "They'll call us Deathworlders forever, won't they?" Hale answered, "Maybe, but they'll say it with respect now." The stars shimmered brighter ahead, and the fleet moved on, silent and steady, carrying the legacy of Earth with it. And far behind them, in the chambers of the Galactic Council, the speaker wrote its final note for the official record. 2 humans entered this hall today. They stood before fear and turned it into hope. The galaxy will never forget their names, for when Deathworlders came, the universe learned that survival itself can be noble. The record ended there. Outside, the stars kept burning, and somewhere in their light, Earth waited, a small blue world that had once been called dangerous, now remembered as the place where courage began, Cha.